Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, there is another twist in the long-running court battle over the deaths of 16 polo ponies on the Spirit of Tasmania in 2018. A Burnie magistrate refused to pass sentence on TT Line and former Australian polo captain Andrew Williams after bombshell new evidence came to light.
A long-awaited end to a contentious legal battle, delayed yet again. A report by a vet highly experienced in transporting horses throwing a spanner in sentencing TT Line after the Spirit operator was found guilty of 29 animal welfare charges. The new testimony was provided by lawyers acting for Andrew Williams, who transported the animals and pleaded guilty to 17 charges last year. Dr. Leeton says if the owner had access to the vehicle during the voyage, the tragedy might never have occurred. He noted other shipping companies enable access to vehicles transporting horses, something the Spirit of Tasmania doesn't. Also saying the noise of 18 horses panicking as the vehicle became unbearably hot would have been evident to onlookers, and apparent it was an emergency. It's evidence Magistrate Topfer didn't have when making her decision, questioning how she can sentence both TT Line and Mr. Williams on two different sets of facts when the event was the same, saying the extent of the animal's pain and suffering is relevant to the sentence she'll hand down. Both sides are being given more time to consider the new evidence before returning on the 16th of February. But even after court returns to sentencing in 2 weeks' time, this long-running legal saga still isn't over. TT Line has launched an appeal in the Supreme Court, slated to go ahead later this month. Annie Green, 7 Tasmanian News.
Returning to school might be exciting for children, but for parents, it's an expensive time of year. With term 1 about to start, charities are pitching in as the state government is also called upon to do more.
For many parents, back to school means back to uniform and stationery shopping.
Children grow very fast, so we have got to get new uniforms, new shoes, all new school books.
Mother Courtney says she's spending $400 on her school-aged child, a hit to the budget which grades poorly in the middle of a cost of living crisis.
But for a lot of families, there's a cloud that hangs over affordability of all of the equipment that's required to go back to school.
Many charities are helping lighten the load. Vinnies are allocating backpacks with essential items like stationery and school boxes.
It would be one of those areas that the corners would be cut. These children would find themselves sitting in a classroom, out in the playground, enjoying lunch, and be potentially looked upon as having less than others.
The state government has a range of concessions available, including assistance for low-income families with levies, uniforms or classes. 15 new schools will also join the School Lunches pilot program this year, and access to tech devices is being expanded.
Look, going back to school can always be a bit of a stressful time for any family. We want families and particularly children to have a wonderful experience.
Just the government needs to do more. It's not good enough for them to point to previous initiatives and say, well, we did that. That's enough.
Another budget challenge for families. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Police are appealing for witnesses to an early morning crash in Old Beach, which has left a 42-year-old Bridgewater man in hospital. The car was allegedly travelling at excessive speed on the Bowen Bridge moments before the crash occurred shortly after 1:30. Emergency services worked to free the driver and sole occupant. Anyone who may have seen a silver Commodore in the area at that time is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. $6 million. That's what Tasmanian political parties received in declared donations last year. For more, we head to state political reporter Josh Duggan. Josh, what are the details?
Kim, the Australian Electoral Commission has updated its yearly transparency register, which tells us how much money went to each party and who from. The Tasmanian Liberals received $3.8 million, with the largest donor being PFD founder Richard Smith. Labor's state branch accepted just over $1 million, with the Shop Distributive and Allied Employees Union the highest donor. The Greens $600,000, with the largest chunk coming from blockchain investment firm Domine. For the Liberals and Labor, we only know where about 15% of those funds came from. Parties are only required to disclose donations over $14,500. Late last year, the Tasmanian Lower House passed a bill to lower the threshold here to $5,000. But in the upper house, it's expected to face a chorus of voices who'd like to see it lowered even further. Kim?
North Melbourne star and former North Launceston player Taryn Thomas is at the centre of a new storm surrounding his treatment of women. Cameron Bowe is at Arden Street. Cameron, the Kangaroos are standing by the 22-year-old.
Kim, a series of ugly allegations have been made against Taryn Thomas. It's been alleged that he has threatened, harassed and intimidated women. It's claimed that he told one woman that he wanted to beat her. These allegations were raised with the AFL late last year. At least one of the allegations was referred to police. Now, North Melbourne is sticking by Taryn Thomas. It's conceded that he does need help for behavioural issues and it's enrolled him in an education and training program. Taryn, what's your response to the allegations? Will you keep playing footy until it's resolved? Any action been taken?
No comment, thanks.
Earlier this month, Taryn Thomas was charged with one count of threatening to distribute an intimate image. That matter will be in court next month, Kim.
The Tasmanian agricultural organisation devoted to helping women on the land has received almost $100,000 to support its education programs. It's one of 7 groups sharing in a state government grant pool of more than $450,000 in a bid to boost innovation in the sector.
The skill developments include everything from financial structures to succession planning to carbon farming to using the digital technology and the uptake of that.
The program is already helping recent entrants to agricultural business.
Confronting at times, but with all these programs we'll be able to have a lot more support from other people around Tasmania.
It's hoped Tasmania's annual farm gate value will reach $10 billion by 2050. The decade-long stoush between the Northern Midlands Council and Launceston Airport over rates is continuing, with the council announcing it will appeal a recent federal court decision which dismissed claims against the Commonwealth and the airport. Northern Midlands Mayor Mary Knowles says council is acting after receiving legal advice. Dozens of junior basketballers have spent the day learning from their idols, with the Jack Jumpers holding a community clinic in Hobart. It comes as the Jackies prepare to travel to Wollongong for the last game of the regular season.
Sharing a love of basketball with the best in the business. 50 of the Jack Jumpers' smallest fans have taken to the court for a community clinic.
I love about the Jack Jumpers is that they're a local Tassie team.
Today's a great opportunity to give access to as many kids who don't always get access to clinics here in Tasmania.
Working with organisations such as Make-A-Wish and JCP Youth to give young basketball fans the opportunity to rub shoulders with some of their heroes.
Jared Besto, he's so nice and every time I look at him, he smiles back and I always feel like he's respecting me.
Giving it their best shot, aiming to improve their skills.
I've learned how to dribble, to do through my legs fast.
That's very good.
And I've learned how to bounce and control the ball and do skills and shoot a hoop and get it.
It's good to be out in the community and see other kids and how excited they are when we walk in the door that's what it's all about and why we've had such great success.
I think it's one of the things that makes us most proud, to come out here and see all these kids getting access to our players and having a great time, a smile on their face, Jack Jumpers singlets everywhere and basketballs in hand. It's what we live for.
A humbling experience before the Jackies set off on their finals march.
What we've got to do first and foremost is win on Saturday night. Our destiny's in our own hands.
We're trying to create something here that's going to last for a while, and it starts on Saturday, being able to hopefully clinch a top 4 spot.
Hoping to clip the wings of the Hawks at Wollongong in 3 days' time.
They're goated and they're going to win.
McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
A special piece of international musical history has become the cornerstone of Mona's latest artistic adventure. The museum has become the first in Australia to house a recording studio, with a hope to stimulate creativity across the state.
Touched by the hands of musical icons, this console, all the way from Abbey Road Studios in London, has helped produce generations of top records.
I can touch this and know that, you know, the Beatles touched it. Yes, it's the response has been phenomenal.
It's now tucked away inside the state's home of creativity, making for the centrepiece in Mona's new frying pan recording studio, in a dream come true for its designer, Chris Townend.
I shed a tear the first time we powered it up, and I'm not the only one. Artists have come in here and just started crying.
Alongside his band, local musician Ben Salter has been given the first taste of musical luxury, putting the equipment to the test.
To have a studio like this, which is sort of the equivalent of the studios that so many of our favourite albums and incredible recordings with just the absolute state-of-the-art equipment, it's just mind-blowing.
A nation first looking to inspire all Tasmanian talent through a world-class oasis right on their doorstep.
To be able to make things sound like as good as anywhere else in the entire world, and to have those facilities is just going to draw people down here.
The state-of-the-art space is already booked out months in advance, with well-known international artists among those who have secured their spot to record.
Yes, there are really big international acts, but I'm not going to just name them just yet.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
An Out of This World exhibition has touched down in Launceston, featuring the top entries from last year's Southern Sky Astrophotography David Malin Awards. Blasting off at QV Mag, 22 photographic pieces from across the country are on display, showcasing the universe at night.
Some great images here, and some of them just taken with smartphones, so you don't need a huge telescope and expensive camera to get some astrophotography.
I think what it also does is sums up the wonderful connection that our country has with astronomy, with space, and certainly will no doubt continue to inspire local photographers who love getting out and photographing aurora.
The exhibition is free to the public to attend and can be viewed until the end of April.
A new president will take charge of the Southern Football League in March, with Russell Young to step down. He says the proudest achievement of his 3-year tenure has been dealing with the pandemic.
The SFL was struggling a little bit before then, but now I think both financially and at club level, we are very, very strong.
He had planned to steer the league through the fallout of the state's AFL bid and any potential end to the TSL, but stepped away with the decision timeline uncertain. Day 4 of the Burnie International has wrapped, with some Aussie star power gracing the courts. Max Purcell and Mark Polmans battled it out this morning in a tough 3-set showdown. Polmans pulled through, winning the match 6-4, 2-6, 6-3. While this afternoon, it was a clash between Australia and Japan in the doubles. The Taylor brothers went down in 2 sets.
Good evening. Hobart 20 degrees, Launceston reached 24, 23 in Devonport, Burnie 21, St Helens reached 25 to head the list today, Friendly Beaches 23, Flinders Island 22, Wynyard and Lowhead 21, King Island and Bushy Park 20, a cool 18 today in Strawn with those onshore southwesterly breezes. The cold front crossed today, a cloud band is there to the east of Tasmania, more cloud over the west and south, that's low cloud in a cold pool of air, another band of cloud indicating a cold front as well south of the Bight, the tropics with thundercloud cover. Tomorrow a cold front clears the state with a large high extending a ridge over the Bight. The 2 troughs remain over the mainland. The winds northwesterly at 20 to 30 knots, but as strong as 35 knots over the west, easing late afternoon and early evening. Swells to 4 metres. We have a gale warning for waters from southeast Cape up the west coast to Stanley, and a strong wind warning for all remaining Tasmanian coastal waters. A sheep graziers alert is also on for the northwest coast, central north, northeast and Furneaux Islands. So tomorrow, a few showers. They'll develop later for Hobart, a top of 21, shower or 2 for Cygnet, 21 and 20 the top for New Norfolk. Showers in the south, but rain in the north. Launceston 16, 17 for Devonport, showers developing for Campbelltown as well, 16 the maximum. Burnie 15 with rain increasing, windy and rainy for Strawn, 17 the top and 16 the high for Smithton. St Helens tomorrow 19 with a shower or 2, 20 the top for Swansea. Fingal showers developing a bit cooler, 17 tomorrow. There's the UV at 9, dropping a little but still very high. On Friday, showers over the west and north coasts, extending to remaining districts late morning. Showers on Saturday but less likely over the north, and on Sunday conditions clearing to be mostly fine and sunny. Sunny as well in Perth, a windy day in Adelaide tomorrow with a shower, late rain over Melbourne. Fine conditions for Canberra, Sydney and Brisbane. Bit of sun over Hobart at the moment at 17, Launceston 20 and partly cloudy in Devonport and 17 degrees. That's the changeable weather, Kim, but as long as you know what you're wearing tomorrow, that's all that counts.
That's what's important. Thank you, Murph. And that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.